three things: character development, story, plot, and arc, and what's new gadgets, new powers, new villains, or new heroes. Now, let's introduce our shows for this week. And they are Dragonball Super, The Flash, Arrow, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Ash vs. the Evil Dead, Cage, and new this week, Supergirl, Supernatural, and Legends of Tomorrow. Now, like I said earlier, some won't make the cut, and we're going to talk about them first. Let's go with the 4 that didn't make it this week. Or you could say number 9, however you want to call it, was The Flash. The Flash, I'm very disappointed with The Flash, and I'll tell you why. Number 1, I gave Flash a 6 this week, and I'll tell you why. Number 1, The Flash is not doing anything different from last week to this week, okay? Barry keeps fucking up the timeline, and it was such to a point where he has messed up the timeline over and over and over again. It's like they should have a count on how many times Barry's fucked up the timeline. Just saying. But we did get a few new characters this week. We did get the guy who played Malfoy from Harry Potter, which I'm thinking, and it's quite possibly, that he's Dr. Alchemy. So we did get that. And the rival came back. Through working with Dr. Alchemy, Dr. Alchemy is somehow able to bring back his former self as the rival. So what I'm thinking moving forward, that he's going to start bringing back all these different people from various Barry timelines that he was in. And another thing, before I move on, in the very first episode, Barry had the perfect timeline. Okay? He had his parents, Wally was the Flash, everything was fine. And if he wouldn't have went back with Eobard Thawne and just stayed there, yeah, he wouldn't have been the Flash and he wouldn't have had his powers, but he would have had the perfect ideal life that he wanted in season 1. A normal life where he can be himself, be a CSI person, and be with Iris and have that perfect life. But no, he went back with Eobard and fucked up the timeline. So, just saying, Barry, I'm not happy with what you're doing. And especially in this week, he's messed up the timeline to the point where now it's affecting Arrow. Instead of Diggle having a daughter, he now has a son, which will later become the 2046 Connor Hawk, or the future Green Arrow, whatever. Number 8, or the second the second show this week to make the cut, was Ash vs. the Evil Dead. Ash vs. the Evil Dead stepped it up a little bit. They added a little bit more this week than they did last week, but still, the development from week to week is very slow. And I gave Ash a 7 this week. It went down a little bit, and at the same time, we're still getting more to the story, but we're really not getting a whole lot of character development, and we're really not getting a whole lot further with the plot. Now, the next show that didn't make it this week, or the third that didn't make the cut, was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this week was a bit better than last week. You know, we're getting a little bit more of Robbie Reyes as Ghost Rider. We had this whole ghost plague with where Mai is in this containment facility because she's been infected with this ghost virus, but Ghost Rider did save Fitz at the end of the episode. So more and more of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. know about who Ghost Rider is, which is great character development, and it's good for the overall story, but I'm figuring that by episodes 5 and 6 is really where Ghost Rider is going to play a bigger part in the general story. Now, let's get to the last show to get the X this week. And that was Luke Cage. Now, between 6 and 5, or you could say between Titan number 5 and the last one to make the cut, it was a real tough choice for me because Luke Cage, I'm on episode 2 of Luke Cage right now. And Luke Cage did an amazing job. A lot of character development. I'm liking where the show's going. We're getting a little bit more of a superhero background to Luke Cage, and that's starting to come through, especially with this whole war between Cornell and Pops. And Pops dying at the end of the episode, which is so good for Luke Cage's character because it forces him to rise up to this call of action. So, I give that an 8.5 this week. It stepped it up from last week, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where that's going. Now that we've gotten rid of the ones that didn't make the cut list this week, let's get to our number 5 Titan this week. Titan number 5 goes to Supernatural. And like I was just saying, I gave both Supernatural and Luke Cage an 8.5. You'll see at the end of this video how I help out Luke Cage and how I give the benefit of the doubt to Luke Cage. You'll see what I'm talking about. But it was really, really neck and neck with Luke Cage and Supernatural. Supernatural came back from last year after God in the Darkness went away. And after God in the Darkness went away, Cass, Sam, they go back to the bunker and they're met with this British bitch, this British chick from the Men of Letters. And she uses the warding, uses the angel repeller, and Cass is gone, and she ends up shooting Sam and kidnapping him. Now, in this episode, Mary comes back, their mother, and at first, there's this kind of disorientation, and her and Dean are arguing, and he has to tell her, hey, Ma, listen, I'm your son. You've been dead for 30 years. This is life now. And then they pick up Castiel, and so they go on the search to find where Sam is. And they go to the bunker, and there's a few exchange, and then his mom's like, who is this? And he's like, this is our angel. And she's like, angel? And it's like, a lot of this is very overwhelming and disorienting to her. So, by the end of so while all this is going on, we got Crowley over here having this tug-of-war match, this ongoing fight with Crowley for Dominion of Hell, in which Lucifer keeps jumping from body to body and Crowley's trying to find him. So by the end of the episode, Cass, Dean, and his mom end up finding out where Sam's being held. They haven't saved him yet, but a lot of good character development for Sam. Being locked up, being tortured, and then all the things that he sees, and then his way of manipulating the British chick to come down while he's about ready to cut his throat with this piece of glass, making him think that he's suicidal, but he's really not. He was just doing that to dupe her, and then she ends up locking the door, and he's stuck down in the basement. So, at the end of the episode, they're about this close to finding Sam, and especially with the preview for next week, they will get Sam, and especially there was a good point in the episode. I was really happy with the way the season opener, opened up Supernatural. I was really happy with it, and I'm really excited to see where it goes, and especially this moment between Dean and his mom, where he was like, Mom, saving people, hunting things, like bringing that back and letting her know, hey, like this is the family business, this is what we do. So, now, let's get to Titan number 4. Titan number 4 this week goes to Dragon Ball Super. Now, I know what you're going to say. Dragon Ball Super was number 5 last week, and it was kind of bad. But Akira Toriyama tends to do this to us. Whenever he gives us kind of a half-ass episode, he always follows it up with an extraordinary episode. So, number one, we find out that Zamasu, or Black Goku Zamasu, it's kind of confusing to explain, but Black Goku Zamasu destroyed the Super Dragon Balls, killed all the gods of the other universes, and they show and they explain how he goes back, switches bodies with Goku, then goes to right before Dragon Ball Super starts, kills Goku, kills Chi-Chi, kills Goten, all while in the future he's explaining all this to Goku. So Trunks has been knocked down, Vegeta's been knocked down, and like Zamasu and Black Goku are attacking him, and they've got him stuck. And it's like them explaining to him about them killing Chi-Chi and Goten, and him messing that all up. And then for the first time, and the reason that I gave Dragon Ball a 9 this week, last week I gave it a 7.5, this week I gave it a 9, because for the first time in Dragon Ball Super, I feel like Goku's finally got his game face on. Like, we're finally getting that Goku from, like, Dragon Ball Z. Like, Krillin, you do this. Piccolo, you do this. Like, the ass-kicking leader that we need in Dragon Ball Super. Like, bitch, Chi-Chi, make me a sandwich. Gohan, do some training. Vegeta, you and Trunks go in the hyperbolic time chamber. Piccolo, go down and handle stuff. Like, that type of Goku. Like, he's got mad, and he was fighting off Zamasu and Black Goku for a good part of it. And then out of nowhere, Trunks powers up and we get this new Super Trunks transformation where he's got like this glowy gold aura, but it's like inside it, we get like some God Ki. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what's coming in the next week's episode, especially the rumor about Zamasu and Black Goku using fusion with the fusion earrings, and Vegeta and Goku potentially forming Vegito or Gogeta, one of the two. Now, let's get to Titan number 3. Third Titan this week goes to Arrow. I gave Arrow a 9.5 this week because ever since the season has started, Arrow has just been just knocking it out of the park, both last week and this week. Okay? So this week's episode, Arrow, he's forming this new team, okay? And you got a little bit of struggle, you got a little bit of dynamics going on with the team. And we're starting to see Oliver going back to that season 1, where ever since he lost Laurel, he's become more of a badass, more of a hard ass, and more about the business. And he thinks that by him being Green Arrow, and being Green Arrow to his new recruits, that it will help to protect him. And what he ends up learning in this episode is that he has to trust this new team like he trusted the old team. And he's like, hey, I'm Oliver Queen. Also, bonus things in this episode, we also get more of the backstory on the Bratva and him going through this training in the Bratva. And you're really starting to see that coming around full circle in this season, which I'm so excited for. Also, we get to see Prometheus at the end of the episode, which I did a little bit of research on Prometheus, and he pretty much has like the reverse backstory of Batman. Like, instead of his parents being killed by thugs, his parents were killed by police officers, and they were crooks. So it's kind of like the polar opposite of what Batman's story is. So that was pretty neat. We also got Ragman this week, and along with getting Ragman this week, Oliver is bringing him into the team. So it was really exciting to see Ragman and him join the team now, and then him patching things up with some of the other team members, and that moving forward, and especially Captain Lance, or Quentin Lance, is on this whole drunk cycle, and ever since losing Laurel, and now Thea's like, hey, to pull you out of this, we're going to make you deputy mayor. Which, just solid, a 9.5. The episode was absolutely flawless, filled with character development. The story arc, the plot was phenomenal. And we got Prometheus, we got Ragman, we got the new team. And it's really starting to head in this, and especially at the end of the episode, we see that Church was attacked by Prometheus. Prometheus goes up and nails Tobias Church, like you leave Green Arrow alone. So what is that relationship? Now, let's get to Titan number 2. Titan number 2 this week goes to Supergirl, which I was really surprised. And I'm not going to try to make this too long, but I was really excited with Titans 1 and 2 this week. Because Supergirl especially, like I watched last season of Supergirl and it was pretty good. But I felt like something was missing. I really felt like they've got the guts, they've got the core of a good show. But I felt like it was missing something. And this week we got Superman. We got fucking Superman. Like, and I felt like the moment he came on screen, I felt like the story was complete. I felt like the show was complete. So, and we also got this whole conflict with Superman and Martian Manhunter. And the fact that at the DOA, they have all this stockpile of kryptonite. And it's because of that that Superman's like, hey, I ain't gonna work with you guys because if someone else takes over instead of you, they could kill me. And another thing that I really loved about this week's episode of Supergirl, and it completely blew my mind. It really did. And I gave Supergirl 9.5 because it was near flawless. Like every moment, every scene, all the dialogue, everything was amazing, and I absolutely loved it. I loved watching the episode, and especially the dialogue between Clark and Kara. Okay, and it's like how he's like the more mature hero, and she's kind of like the rookie hero, and it's like him trying to teach her how to balance both. And it's like also Kara discovers her journey or her purpose in life, what she's gonna do, and come to find out she's gonna become a reporter just like her cousin. And which, just like Aunt Grant had guessed from the first day that she came in. So that was also cool. Also, we got Metallo, or pretty much the origin story of Metallo in this episode. Also, we got the Luthers, so Lex is in jail, and he's ordering this hit on Lena Luthor. I don't know, I always thought it was Tess from the comics, but okay. They're changing it for the show. I don't care. So she's trying to rename LexCorp to L-Corp. And it's because of this whole thing that Lex goes ahead, hires Metallo in order to try and take her out. Well, of course, Superman and Supergirl stop that. And I love the moments where both Supergirl and Superman are on screen. And I felt like they complete each other. I really felt like this is going to be a show that moving forward for the rest of the season of Titans, especially from this year, like it's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Because I really felt like the show is now complete, and like I think it could go toe to toe with Flash, Arrow, even Legends of Tomorrow every week, and especially once The Walking Dead comes back. I think that's going to be a really amazing show to keep an eye on, and I was really, really happy with it. Especially, I watched last season, and I wasn't really that happy with it. So for them to go from where they were and really step it up, like they didn't just step up. I mean, they really stepped it up this week. So that was really amazing, and I was really excited to see that. And I ended up watching the episode like 2 or 3 times because it was so good. The humor and the epicness and them finding a new Kryptonian. And it's just, I'm really excited to see where this show goes. Now, let's get to number 1, or the Titan of TV this week. This week's Titan of TV goes to Legends of Tomorrow. Goes to Legends of Tomorrow. Legends of Tomorrow this week was like the single greatest episode I have seen this year. Out of all the shows that I'm going to be doing. Oh, by the way, in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to be adding The Walking Dead. So that'll make 10 shows every week. So out of all my shows I watch, Legends of Tomorrow completely blew everything out of the water. Blew Supergirl, blew Arrow, Luke Cage, all of them. I literally felt at one point watching this like I was watching a fucking movie, okay? So the episode is about the Legends are lost in time, okay? And this historian breaks into Oliver Queen's office. So we got the Green Arrow on Legends of Tomorrow, which was amazing. And he's got to find Oliver, and then they got to go and look for the Legends. So then They go down in like this underwater submarine. They get in the ship, and they come to find out they find Mick Rory, Heatwave. And then he tells them a story about how they had to go back in time to save Einstein because there's some time pirates that are trying to take him away, and then while taking him away, or they have to kidnap Einstein themselves so that they can protect him from his atomic bomb falling into the wrong hands. We'll come to find out his ex-girl, she knew all that stuff too. So then these time pirates snatch her up, which come to find out Damien Dark's ahead of it. And so they've got to go in there and they've got to stop that. So in the midst of all this, they're under the water, the sub's under the water, and they shoot the atomic bomb at the Wave Rider. And before that happens, Rip Hunter's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. He does this time scatter where he scatters them throughout time in order to prevent them from getting hurt. Well, during this process, Rip sends them away and leaves Mick in the Wave Rider. So then after he leaves him in the Wave Rider, everybody's scattered. So then once Oliver and this new historian guy come and find him, then they have to go through time and find the rest of the team. Well, once they find the rest of the team, they still can't find Rip. And it's like, this episode was so amazing. Like, on so many levels. I give it a 10. And I don't give shows a 10 very often. I really don't. The most I'll go is 9.5. Just like Supergirl and Arrow. But this completely blew everything out of the water. And I felt, like I said, I was watching a movie. It was amazing. I absolutely loved every minute of it. And then at the end of the episode, you get the biggest WTF moment. Captain Hunter is lost in time somewhere. And then they run into the Justice Society of America. So next week we're going to get the Justice Society of America. What is that? So just an overall amazing show. I absolutely loved it. And it was phenomenal to watch. Now, two more things before we end this video today. The funniest clip of the week, or the funniest scene of the week. That's something new I'm adding this week. The funniest clip was Ash versus the Evil Dead. And in this scene, Ash is fighting off this deadite, and it ends up being an ass. And he gets sucked up into this deadite ass, and it was just the most absurd, most funniest thing I have seen all this week. Now, the other thing, or the other award I'm going to give out this week is the best fight scene. The best fight scene I seen this week was in Dragon Ball Super. The fight with Zamasu, Goku, and Black Goku. Flawless fight. Really, really amazing. So thanks for tuning in today on... thanks for tuning in on Titans of TV. Join me next week when we'll see how our shows progress, who will be Titan of TV next week. I'm Spike Von Shadow, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.